One of the most important elements of our Salamander Crossing Brigade trainings is learning how to stay safe when you're out on the road for big nights. Big nights are by nature dark, wet, sometimes foggy, times when driving visibility can be dramatically reduced and drivers may not expect to be seeing people in the road. Your first responsibility is to your own safety. Here's what you need to know. The first and most important thing to know about staying safe on big nights is to wear a reflective vest so that you are visible to cars. This is so important that if you do not yet have a reflective vest or cannot find the reflective vest you do have, you should not go out on the road on big nights. It is vital that you be able to be seen by passing cars, and without a reflective vest on, you are nearly invisible. If you do not yet have a reflective vest, you can find them at nearly any hardware store, sporting goods store, and of course on the internet. We have hundreds of volunteers who participate in the crossing brigades every year across a wide geographic range, so in general we ask that our volunteers provide their own reflective vests. However, if cost is a barrier to you and you live in the Monadnock region, the Harris Center may have a reflective vest that you can borrow. Just drop us a line. The second most important piece of safety equipment is a bright light. Cell phone flashlights are not sufficient. You need a real flashlight or headlamp or both to ensure that you are visible to cars and that amphibians are visible to you. Headlamps are great for seeing your data form and for being seen from a distance, but when it comes to looking for amphibians on the road, nothing beats a handheld flashlight where you can easily direct the beam of light. In addition, you want to make sure that your lights are charged or have fresh batteries in them. This is not the time to grab that old flashlight that's been sitting unused in the junk drawer for a year and hope that the batteries are still good. When you're out on the road, you need to stay alert by looking and listening for cars at all times. If you hear a car coming and you're not sure if the other volunteers have heard it, call out "car" so that they know. Create a community of safety when you're out there. And as soon as you see a car come into view, step aside, off the road. We used to call our volunteers Salamander Crossing Guards. Now we call them the Salamander Crossing Brigades. That's because crossing guards stop traffic, but we do not stop traffic. Our goal is to move amphibians across the road faster than they can move themselves. It is not safe for us to stop traffic, and it is not legal for us to stop traffic, so don't try to do it. In addition, do not shine your lights at cars as they pass by. You run the risk of shining the light right in the driver's eyes and creating an unsafe situation. The best thing to do when a car passes by is to shine your light on yourself to give that reflective vest an added boost of visibility. Last but not least, don't risk your life for amphibians. Now this sounds obvious, but there's one scenario in which it might be a little less clear-cut. If you do this long enough, there will come a time when you have stepped off the road because a car is coming and you are looking out into the road. You are using the headlights from that car because they are illuminating the road better than your flashlight ever could, and you're scanning for critters. And there will come a time when you see a spotted salamander or a wood frog in the beam of those headlights. And your first thought will be, I can rush out there real quick and grab that critter out of the road before the car comes. I want your second thought to be my voice in your head saying, don't do it. On big nights, roads are wet and slick. It is easy to slip when you're in a rush. In addition, salamanders and frogs can squirm out of your hands, making an unsafe situation for everybody. It's one of the most difficult parts of being a crossing brigade volunteer is stepping aside when cars pass by, even when you know critters are on the road. But it's what you must do. Keep your eye on that critter, hope for the best, and tend to it after the car has passed. If you're hoping to bring kids out to the crossings, there are some added precautions you should keep in mind. First, leave very young children at home. Crossing brigades are best suited for kids elementary school aged and up, who know how to be safe around traffic and who you can trust not to dart into the road if they see a salamander. Do some research ahead of time to find a crossing site that's family friendly. This means wide shoulders or sidewalks, slower moving traffic, maybe some street lights for added visibility. On our Harris Center website, we have information about crossings in the Monadnock region that we know to be family friendly, as well as crossings that we know are not family friendly. But you may need to do some of your own digging and even visit your site ahead of time in the daylight to get a better sense for the lay of the land. Make sure everyone in your group is wearing a reflective vest. It is not enough for one adult or one child to be visible. You all need to be visible to cars. And lastly, we highly recommend a 1-to-1 adult-to-child ratio, with the primary responsibility of each adult being the safety of the child in their care. We know from experience that it can be challenging to wrangle a gaggle of really excited kids, especially when there's frogs or salamanders to see, but it's important for safety. So if you are just one parent with a larger family of children, we encourage you to enlist the help of family friends, aunts, uncles, and really strive to maintain that 1-to-1 adult-to-child ratio whenever you're out on the road for big night. In addition to traffic safety, we also need to consider COVID safety. If you are experiencing symptoms or have recently been exposed to someone who tested positive, do not come out to an amphibian crossing. Wear a mask over your mouth and nose whenever you are around people who are outside of your household or pandemic pod. Keep your distance from anyone who's not part of your pandemic pod. This means no gathering close together to ogle salamanders. It also means that if you arrive at a crossing site and you see more than 10 people or more volunteers than are able to safely physical distance from one another, you should go home or head to another site. Lastly, for the safety of the amphibians, do not use hand sanitizer before handling amphibians. Hand sanitizer can be harmful to amphibians who absorb toxins through their skin. We recommend washing your hands with soap and water before heading out for big night and as soon as you get home, doing your best not to touch your face in between. You can also choose to use nitrile gloves, non-powdered, as an alternative. This is Andrew, and Andrew is modeling great Salamander crossing brigade behavior. First and foremost, he's wearing a reflective vest and has 2 sources of bright light, a headlamp and a flashlight. He's wearing a rain jacket and warm layers to keep himself warm and dry. He's got a brimmed cap to keep the rain off his glasses so that he can see clearly and stay alert to traffic. He's got a pencil ready to go to record his data. And equally as important, he's smiling, he's happy, he's having fun. If you have reached the point of the night when you are no longer smiling because you are cold or tired, you're also not going to be able to be as alert to safety issues, and it is time to go home. We ask our volunteers to come out if they can and to stay as long as they like. And so when it's time to go, it's okay to head on home. That's it for this slideshow. All of these safety tips can be found in a downloadable PDF at harriscenter.org, where we also have a ton of other salamander related information. So we encourage you to check it out. Thanks again for your attention to safety. We'll see you out on big night.